In the world of game design, there's a relationship between how complex a rule set is and how much depth a game has. For instance, rock, paper, scissors is a childhood staple because you can learn the rules in minutes, but you can also exhaust its strategic depth in the same day. Chess, in contrast, may require a day to learn its rules, but its gameplay takes a lifetime to master. The most eloquent designers squeeze meaningful, complex gameplay out of the simplest of rules. That all human languages use a finite set of discrete sounds and gestures, but can form an infinite set of possible sentences, should redefine our relationship with grammar. It's easy to think grammar and syntax a necessary evil. But if the finite is truly capable of producing the infinite, any language has grammar to thank for giving it purpose. Without rules, the chessboard becomes nothing more than an oversized wooden coaster. Without grammar and syntax, our words become forfeit to the irredeemable abyss of the arbitrary. Therein, as an English teacher, my students need not only understand the rules of grammar, but its purpose. Should grammatical lessons be reduced to rote memorization, students in the English classroom would be reduced to talking birds, capable of faithfully reproducing or parroting words and phrases of the human language that they've heard, but their utterances carrying no meaning. But humans are capable of more than tail wagging, barking, and growling. You might be able to teach a monkey to move a pawn, but that's not the same as teaching it to play chess. Therein, what separates human condition from senseless babble is the descriptive grammar that describes our basic linguistic knowledge. I long to set students down a path of lifelong learning, or, to return to the idea of game design, I long to teach students to play in the sandbox of the English language. And for that to happen, it's important to know the do's and don'ts of the playground, the boundaries within which they can play. Neglect the rules and they become a headwind, an explorer's molasses gumming up the works of all who navigate the English language. But befriend the rules and they become the wind at your back, for even the waves are driven by the wind. For that matter, any sailor who sets to the sea, lest he be at the mercy of the waves, aspires to read the wind. In kind, we ride the coattail of grammar. It ruffles the pages of a good novel, play, or poem. We'd expect grammar to nest in the highbrow literature of English class, but it also visits the low grass of social media and text messages. It sweeps across our everyday conversation. To expound, we live in a world of language, one that sees us talk to our friends, our associates, our wives and husbands, our lovers, our teachers, our parents, our rivals, and even our enemies. Simply put, whatever else people do when they come together, whether they play, fight, make love, or make automobiles, they talk. And for our part, we've contracted grammar to referee these exchanges. Conversations then become like a game of tennis, in which messages are rallied back and forth. A high-stakes interview might feel like a championship match, and shooting the breeze with a friend will feel more similar to a backyard scrimmage. You might find your partner playful or heavy-handed or dull. If we can put it this way, our game takes on its own style, but it is predicated on the rules. Without boundaries, infractions, and nets, we have no game at all. And it's because of this that we depend on grammar to blow its whistle. So whether we're writing a resume or a thank you card, whether confronting a friend or exchanging small talk with a neighbor, every word that we write, speak, and even think is governed by the rules of grammar. In the NBA, the traditional big man used to reign supreme, but the banning of hand-checking and the legalizing of zone defenses tipped the scales out of their favor. Gone are the days of Shaq backing weaker players down. In contrast, Steph Curry's game would have far less impact were it not for the invention of the three-point line. The modern NBA are witness, it is best to befriend the rules of the game. To the stranger, the English language becomes an egocentric child, bending the rules, contradicting himself, threatening to take his ball and go home at a moment's notice. But we're not so easily dissuaded. To become a grandmaster of chess is to become intimately aware of its rules. The rules of the game, or the rules of grammar as it were, are less of a barrier to entry and more of an invitation to play. The world is our playground. The best we could ever hope to do is squeeze meaningful, complex gameplay out of the simplest of rules.